Hi everybody, this is a green and red Arcane Bombardment deck that's built around Glistening Dawn, a disgustingly green sorcery that incubates X twice where X is the number of lands we control. Gives us a bunch of those incubator tokens you see on the right that each cost 2 to transform. Got some early game instance with Play with Fire and a couple of Tamiyo's Safekeeping. This works nicely to protect our Bombardment and our Chandra, but can also protect our Incubator tokens since that's one of our paths to victories, swinging in with sometimes pretty large Incubator tokens toward the end of the game. In the 2 drops, we're running 1 Atraxa's Fall to have some flexibility against artifacts and enchantments. We're doing 3 Thrill of Possibility in addition to our 4 copies of the usual big score, because these colors usually have pretty terrible card draw, and we definitely don't want to run out of things to do or things to help us survive into the late game. We're doing 4 Lightning Strikes since it's nice and versatile and it hits a lot of early game things. I used to be playing with more Play with Fires, but there's so many things with 3 toughness now since the bans that Lightning Strike I find is a little bit better, so we're trying 4 of those in here too. 3 Into the Fire because it's a good flexible card. It's that board wipe against decks with small creatures, something like green and white enchantments. And it's also that thing that gets us cards in the late game as we can sort of shuffle away our extra lands that we don't need and hopefully draw something good. So while 2 damage isn't necessarily the ideal number, the fact that we can choose which mode we want makes this a pretty solid include in here too. We're running 2 artifacts in Geistflame Reservoir and the Celestus. Both of these play well with our deck because we can either draw or see extra cards, or in the case of the Reservoir, do some extra damage and control the board a little bit better after casting all of these instants and sorceries. Also in the 4 drops, we've got 1 Jaya to kind of help out. Strangely, she never really came into play very often for me, so you could probably use this as a flex spot if you want. And I found 3 Glistening Dawn is probably the right number. It's not the most immediately powerful spell, so we kind of want to balance that with things like board wipes and removals so that we can make sure that we survive long enough to activate these tokens. Then in the 5 drops, of course, we've got 3 copies of Burn Down the House, and we're running 2 Titania's Command in here. This makes all of our Incubator tokens better once they're flipped over, gives us a way to exile an opponent's graveyard, and is another great flexible, choose one, very powerful spell to pick up in the late game. And this is all supported by 3 copies of Bombardment and 2 copies of Chandra. That's kind of the split I went for this deck. You can see our kind of slate of dual lands. This was initially kind of just a testing form of this deck, so I didn't throw any of the Kamigawa legendary lands in there, so you can probably toss some of those in there as necessary, maybe some other utility lands too. Never had a problem with any of the colors in this deck. And to give you some other ideas of where I was going with this deck initially, these are some of the ideas and cards that didn't quite make it. So you can see we've got a theme here of getting some extra lands into play. This makes our Glistening Dawn that much more threatening as our incubated tokens get bigger with each land we play. So we were thinking maybe something like Cartographer's Survey, for example, expand the sphere, something to cheat some extra lands into play. And then the other idea I had was perhaps using Mulch and something similar to that, do some self-mill and get some land cards into our graveyard, before then splendid reclamationing them all back out onto the battlefield and making Glistening Dawn that much better. I opted for the simpler deck that you see here, but this is just some of the other ways that I was thinking of building this deck. Alright, so let's get over and see some of these games on the ranked standard ladder. I'll be with you for commentary, of course, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Alright, let's get into it here. This is an okay starting hand. We can at least scry with a Play with Fire if we need to. Trying out some Glistening Dawn in standard with Arcane Bombardment. Every time I look at that card, I think of the Arrested Development bit with George Sr. with the Glisten toothpaste. Yeah, we may have to Play with Fire the face just to guarantee the 3rd land. But yeah, every time I see the card, I'm like, he used to swear by that Glisten. Play with Fire to the face. Looks like this is green-white enchantments. Alright. My old and slow computer gets 2 damage in. We see a land on the top. We're good with that. Yeah, I think we got to Into the Fire here too. It's too important. We've got both Bombardment and Big Score in hand, plus a Lightning Strike. So we can ditch one of these, probably both. Oh, there's the Dawn. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Well, I think this is solid. I think we did have to get rid of both of those there. As tempting as it is. Oh, what in the world? Okay. Like, are they planning for me now? Phyrexian Sensor, so we can only cast one spell per turn. I got to think about this for a second. So that means if we eventually get Bombardment down, whenever we play it and activate it, we're not going to be able to cast any of the copies. Homestead Courage makes the sensor bigger, so now it's out of Lightning Strike range. We draw Tamiyo's Safekeeping and a land off of that big score. We are going to have to... Let's see. Yeah, let's go... If we Dawn now, it'll make some 5/5s. We can at least, like, try to block. And if they attack with the sensor, we're definitely blocking. Option to do Tamiyo's Safekeeping on a token and keep it alive. Homestead Courage, going to bump that up to a 5/5, and they've got 2 green available. All right, they send it in. We got to try. Got to try to trade with this token. All right, we're going to try to block. Okay. It works. Sensor gone. Unnatural Restoration. Brings the sensor back to the opponent's hand. We're going to have to deal with that all over again. Well, let's get Bombardment down. More of an investment in the future, I guess. Because I'm assuming they're going to replay that sensor now, seeing what we're up to. Yep, sensor comes back. So we're going to need to draw something fairly to get rid of this. Though, we could Safekeeping now. Let's do this now. Once it lands, we're not going to be able to copy anything. Okay, we get Glistening Dawn, so we get a couple of 6/6s. Not the worst. I mean, they are pretty big. And then we get Geistflame Reservoir. Alrighty. Let's animate... Yeah, let's transform one of the big ones. Go for attacks. And then we'll Geistflame. So we've got the option to transform one of these on our opponent's turn. But the other backup plan, I guess, is we're going to have to start building up counters on the reservoir to just shoot down that sensor. Opponent with a Rot Priest now as well. Interesting. Sensor really backbreaking against my copy a bunch of spells game plan. They're sending it in again. Alright, well, I don't expect my token to survive, but we're going to throw it in front of this creature anyway. What do we got? Fateful Absence? Some kind of instant speed removal here. Destroy Evil. Okay, that does the trick. Sensor gets in. We draw Burn Down the House. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's animate this Incubator token. Something holding up priority on the opponent's side that is 1 mana. Alright, let's go to attacks. Forcing the block here. Tamiyo's Safekeeping for the Rot Priest. Okay. Gives us a counter. Likely going to see a block here. Yes. And they gained 2 from that, so they're only down to 8 now. We're just gonna hang tight. Our creatures are much bigger than theirs. We might be able to get them in a spot where we can either wipe this board or throw some extra devils on there and get some unexpected damage in. Contagious Vorak now, so they can look at the top or proliferate. See what they choose to do here. They go with the proliferate, so we're up to 2 poison counters, 3 cards left in that hand. What do we got? Homestead Courage is going to target the Censor. That means the Priest gives us an extra counter. They could attack pretty freely here with Vigilance. And they send the Priest in as well. So they've just got a Vorak left on board. Plus the Censor as blockers. And we draw Atraxa's Fall. Not the most useful here. Well, actually, let's burn down the house. Yes, on damage, because everything we've got is bigger than their stuff. And if they've got any combat tricks, this is going to force them to use it now. Let's see what we got. Safekeeping. Okay, so that's going to keep the Censor alive, unfortunately. Yep, we pull up Glistening Dawn, but can't do anything about it. Yeah, we'll just pass it on back. Still have the bigger creatures here, even with this backup Homestead Courage they've got. So we need to get rid of this Censor. Really have our game plan take off. So they do bump it up to a 5/5. It's got Vigilance. No attacks, one card left in hand for them. Okay, and we've got Atraxa's Fall here. Let's exile something off the top, see what we can see. Just a proving ground, but we can't cycle it since it's not technically in our hand. Well, I mean, we could at least send one in. Great, it goes through. Probably should have done both there just to try and get that last one out of there. It's always tricky with the, you know it's a deck full of combat tricks. Always makes me a little bit suspicious, but... cycle this away. Okay, Lightning Strike. Oh, well. This might work. Let's send them both in. Definitely should have done this last turn. Let's see what they're hiding out in that hand, if that would have made sense. No, that's not going to work, opponent. What do you got here? Okay, just jump blocks. Anything in hand? No? Huh, okay, I was wrong. Well, let's go for it. Lightning Strike to the face. It's going to put one on Geistflame Reservoir and play with fire in case that doesn't work. Do a little into the fire here. A little Glistening Dawn. Glisten it on up. Cycle some things away, but unless they're hiding a Safekeeping... Okay, well, should have just went for it. Never mind. Good game. Okay, let's see here. Yep, this is keepable. We got a big score. We got to play with fire to take a look at the top. Glistening Dawn, of course. Just the name of it. Kind of gross. Alright, opponent signaling some black and red here. Got a Feldon and an Unlucky Witness dinging us for 3 right off the bat. Let's see, we've got some of our removal available to us. Let's pass, see if we can't get some more info out of them. Alright, I think we just take this. Well, yeah. Don't want to give them the chance to play anything with Feldon, so we're going to hit it with Play with Fire. They only see 2 things off the top. Trying to give them the least amount of options if we do have to remove that. Looks like they take Lightning Strike and hit us in the face, bring us to 11. Alright, so a fairly aggressive game plan. Going to drop our 3rd land, keep up this Lightning Strike. Opponent to 4 mana, attacks with a Witness, bringing us to 10. Okay, no backup plays. Could be some removal sitting in that hand, possibly. We're just going to pass it on back here, try to big score. The Witness by itself, not very threatening. Don't feel the need to remove it and give them even more options if they are sitting on a handful of removal here. We're going to pitch Titania's Command to big score. Just see a couple of lands, but that's not the worst. Alright. Yeah, let's drop Bombardment now. With Despair Band, odds are they don't have a way to get rid of this. Well, okay, apparently not. Scoops to the Bombardment. This seems fine. Back again with some more Glistening Dawn. Really threw this together on a late night stream one night just to test out some streaming equipment, and ended up working out. Sometimes you just get lucky like that. All right, opponent appears to be on mono black. They've got the Pilfer Forest straight off the bat here. Takes Burn Down the House. Probably the best choice. Runner up there would have been big score for me. Just because we can do it sooner. Gives us a little boost up to where we want to be at 6. All right, they've got Lily, so it's clearly a discard-focused deck. Going to do each player discards. We can afford to drop one of these Dawns into the graveyard. Yeah, let's thrill. It's not the best rate. Well, do we want to do that? Yeah, might as well. Okay, so we got a land. That's good. And it's green. Great. Of course, the 5th land pops up. 2 play with fires. So let's use both of these and get rid of Lily, and at least conserve what little is left of our hand here. They know we've got the Dawn. They can make us discard it. But if we can keep our mana developing as we both kind of go into top deck mode, we might have an out here. All right, they follow up with Flesh Gorger. Well, we're still at 20. Let's drop Glistening Dawn. Get the option for a couple of future 5/5s on the board here. Oh no, my opponent's got a Gix. It's very good. They're going to be able to start refilling that hand, drawing into even more threats. So, okay, they didn't make us discard. That's good. We need to wipe this board. So we can't let Gix go unchecked, start playing sorceries off the top of our deck. Especially with Flesh Gorger giving them a life refund, and of course a second copy. Okay. We draw Proving Ground. Well, let's just wait. Let's just sit tight. We don't have to do anything this turn. And we could always discard Proving Ground to big score and try to draw into something like a Bombardment. All right, they don't take the bait and do not attack Gix into these tokens, so we're going to big score. And we pick up... we just had this hand. All right, we pick up a big score and a Proving Ground. Tell you what, let's get one of these tokens flipped over just to have a little something on the board. That way, if they do decide to attack next turn, say after drawing some removal, we can transform the backup copy. Ooh, Debt to the Kami makes us sacrifice. All right. Well, they had something anyway, just didn't want to use it. Let's see, I'll play this Mountain, and yeah, let's run it back. Run the same play over again. They decide to attack. All right, we're going to transform the token. This means they probably have some more removal for it, but we got to try. Debt to the Kami, so they're going to make us sacrifice. Yep, let's just get that done. We're going to big score. Well, we probably should have waited and done this earlier, rather. We do have a couple of safekeepings in here that could have come in handy. Nope, just a thrill of possibilities. So they're going to hit us for 3. Draw a card. Still at 21, thanks to the Gorger. And yeah, we're going to thrill a possibility. Get rid of this Karplusan Forest. Opponent still has something instant speed over there. And we draw another Glistening Dawn and an Into the Fire. Now, Into the Fire, not the most helpful, but if we keep drawing lands, it's going to be nice to redraw those with that card. So let's Glistening Dawn. Ugh. Still gross. All right, some fairly large tokens for us. Let's see if they've got any response to this one transforming. Looks like they do. Another debt to the Kami. Okay. Well, we've got mana left over. Let's transform the second one. Gotta make him have it, as they say. So yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll sacrifice one of these tokens. Okay, they're out of gas. So we're able to block Gix. That's fantastic news for us. All right, let's attack with the 7/7 then. Bring them to 14. Yeah, if they can't remove it, then we can slow play it. Oh, Lily. Liliana of the Vale makes us sacrifice our remaining incubator token.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Just a small transformable creature. Well, let's Into the Fire, get rid of both of those. Conveniently leaves us with enough mana to big score. This is what, our third big score of this game? I think that's their opponent's third Gix, now that I think about it. All right, let's big score here. Opponent's still holding on to an instant. I can't think of what it is. Maybe it's a go for the throat, since they couldn't point it at our tokens. All right, some great draws from that big score. We've got Tamiyo Safekeeping up to keep Bombardment safe. We can start laying down the Reservoir next turn, really getting some value out of it. But let's see, if we Safekeeping now, what do we got? Bunch of big scores. So some options. Let's go ahead and Safekeeping just to get a free spell. What do we got? Hey! We got the best one. That or Glistening Dawn would have been fantastic, but we'll take it. Gain a little bit of life back. Ah, we draw a spell too, so let's lay the Reservoir. Let's see. Let's do Into the Fire. We'll just use that to cycle. Trigger some things. Play with fire to the opponent's face. Burn down the house on Devils, of course. Some more counters on the Reservoir. All right. I guess opponents had enough. Good game. No, this is, yeah, that's too much of an expensive hand. This is much better. We're going to keep this. Put back one of the lands. Thrill and Reservoir mean that we can probably dig ourselves out of any kind of land situation that we find ourselves in. Opponent's starting off with a Luminarch Veteran. All right, we'll just lay down Karplusan Forest, pass it on back. Would be nice if we get the space to lay down this Reservoir on turn 3. Elas Il-Kor for the opponent, so we've definitely got kind of a... Could be go wide, could be just lots of recurring creatures. We'll have to see. All right, let's go Mountain into Reservoir. Means we'll take a little bit of damage this turn, but being able to invest in the Reservoir now and put counters on it, going to be very nice. Especially if the opponent's playing lots more smaller creatures like these. Okay, Obscura Storefront finds them a Plains. And Intrepid Adversary. Bunch of triggers, but no counters. Nothing to make the team bigger just yet, but a decent threat on its own. Need to make sure we can big score. No, the B spell. Burn down the house. Need to make sure we can burn down the house next turn. So Proving Ground now, so that even if we don't draw land, we can forest. Yep, just pass it on back for now. Going to take a good chunky hit this turn, but I think it's worth it. Voice of the Blessed. A couple of triggers here. It's going to put 1, 2 +1/+1 counters on the Voice. And I mean, might as well get in with everybody, right, opponent? No. Okay. Going to put another counter on the Voice, bringing that to a 5/5. Let's pitch big score, draw some cards. Another burn down the house. Well, I'll take it. Let's definitely do this on damage right now. Great, no reaction, no reanimator spell from the opponent. Just a couple more triggers, bringing us down to 10 from Elas. Stacking up a few things on the Reservoir. That'll help us keep the board clear if we don't want to spend a board wipe. Ooh, Glistening Dawn for us, a good draw. Let's go. Yep, Glistening Dawn. Another counter on the reservoir. And let's pass it on back. 2 mana up means we've got lots of options. We can shoot something down or flip over one of these tokens. Ooh, another adversary. And it looks like they've got the mana up. See if they decide to pay that here. They do, so we're going to respond to this. Might as well conserve the counters. We're going to point 1 damage at the adversary. Triggers the Phantom, gives our opponent a little bit more life, but definitely keeping a solid hold on this board. Very important. All right, we see the Celestus. Yeah, let's play that out. That still allows us to keep 4 mana up, and we can flip over token number 1. We're going to attack with that. Great, and we're going to pass it on back. Keep up our options again between Geistflame and the other token. All right, Henrika here means they can make us sacrifice something, and I want to make this as painful for them as possible if they try to do that. So we're going to get rid of the Phantom with the Reservoir. Henrika comes down, combat trigger happens. You can sacrifice if you want to, but that means you lose your creature as well. No, they just opt for the transform. Not too bad still, since I believe she has Death Touch. Let's see. Yeah, I think we got the mana for this. Let's transform, and then let's Titania's Command, and we're going to make some big bears and put counters on our tokens. All right, and yeah, send in the big ones. Opponent blocks, probably for the best. All right. So we're left with an 8/8 and a pair of 4/4 bears. Not a bad position to be in. Couple counters on the reservoir means we might be able to take out blockers. There's a Skrelv and a Voice of the Blessed, but I think we might be able to clear this out. Oh, yeah, especially with Into the Fire. This works, right? 2 damage to everything. And then attack with our big tokens. Nice. All right. Good game there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's all basic lands, but it's not bad. Definitely keepable. Opponent with an Evolving Adaptive. Well, I don't think we can let that stay around, so let's point a Lightning Strike at it. Get that out of here. We'll say Atraxa's Fall after a few games with this deck just doesn't have as many targets as I kind of hoped it would. So it could be a flex spot going forward. We'll see. All right, opponent with the Beast Caller. Think that's worth spending a board wipe on it. Into the Fire, just the right size to get rid of that before it gets any bigger. Another Crystal Grotto for our opponent. Okay. And, Outland Liberator. One of the many werewolves that seem to be the bane of my expensive enchantments. Just a great free way to get rid of artifacts and enchantments, and an audacity for it as well. Yeah, not bad, opponent. We're going to take 5 from this. And opponent threatening to just freely get rid of our bombardment should we find it. Let's big score here. I think discarding command. It's expensive. Oh, and we drew another one anyway, so no big deal. Ooh, and we draw bombardment. Okay, so that means... Well, hold on. Nope, too eager. We got to get rid of this creature first. And I think we can do it on their turn. Let's see. Yep, they can still make colored mana with Crystal Grotto, so if they had a Safekeeping, it would still be available. All right, they attack. They're going to target a treasure. Let's use the treasure. Make a mana. Try to hit this with a Lightning Strike. Okay. Liberator is down. Great. Audacity draws them a card. Another land. And a Cemetery Prowler. Hmm. This is a deck that has had enough of Reanimator, that's for sure. All right, let's thrill. We're going to discard Atraxa's Fall. We see a couple of lands. All right, well, I think it's time to get Bombardment down now. Got a Titania's Command for our following turn, as long as this Prowler doesn't eat too much of our graveyard. Oh, come on. Oh, I don't know what it is about Arena. We sometimes get paired with the decks that are just seem purpose-built to go against what we're trying to do here. All right, so that one takes out a command. This attacking Prowler grabs another spell out of our graveyard. Into the Fire, too small to take these out. Think we got to... Well, let's see. What do we got? We got another Into the Fire down there. So if we Into the Fire on 2 damage, it's a 50-50 that we get to take out one of these Prowlers with the remaining damage from the spell that we pick up. Yeah, kind of... Yeah, let's cast Command. It gives us the biggest blockers. The most guaranteed stuff. We pick up a Thrill anyway, so that 2 damage plan wouldn't have worked with Into the Fire. Alright, so at least this might keep them from attacking if we can keep the bears here. And so that way they might not be able to eat Titania's Command out of the grave. Oh no. Another Outland Liberator, okay. So they sacrifice the Liberator. Bombardment is down, but so is the Liberator, so no free attacks destroying enchantments. Just have to worry about these Prowlers eating up our graveyard. Land off the top. Well, land off the top. We've got Glistening Dawn. All right, we've glistened our way into some large creature tokens that are available. We've got a Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Let's see what our opponent's got for us here. Augur of Autumn. And Jewel Thief. Okay. Gives them a treasure. And let's see. Yep, let's make an incubator token. I think we can just start charging these tokens in, making them chump block a little bit. Start doing some threatening. Yeah, let's transform the second one. Yeah, let's send these guys in. All right, Prowler blocks. Don't want to stack anybody up here. And they've got Tamiyo's Safekeeping to keep the Prowler alive. Okay, but we've still got bears back to keep, hopefully, these wolves at bay. Yeah, let's Into the Fire. We'll pitch the other one, get rid of that, draw some cards. All right, we've got a Lightning Strike here. Use that whenever we want. Our other option was to double Into the Fire there, but that Safekeeping kind of would have wrecked that plan. All right, let's Lightning Strike this Augur. So if the Evolving Adaptive comes down, the Augur's then able to play... I think it can play creatures off the... Okay. All right, nothing like brickwalling your stompy opponent. All right, this looks good. We've got Jaya for a change. Only a one of, but first time she showed up for me here. Start off with a Proving Ground. Looks like our first couple of turns we're going to have to defend ourselves with a Play with Fire. There's big score for the turn 4 play. Yeah, it may be worth scrying here. We'll see what they do. Nothing from our opponent. All right. Well, let's big score. Just like to guarantee the land draw. Let's put that second big score on the bottom. Great. So we're all set with 4 lands. We've got enough to cast, yeah, most of our hand. So, okay. Is there like a streamer who's playing with Phyrexian Censor? And this is like a popular deck at the moment. It's like the second time I've faced this creature down that nobody was playing before. Just happens to wreck our strategy. Wow, okay. Elesh Norn, the new regular version, Well, let's pitch a bombardment. That's not going to be useful till we can find an answer to this board. Opponent gets in for 3. A lot of our board wipes are damage-based. Well, tell you what, let's get bombardment down. So if we can remove this creature, then we'll start seeing some immediate payoff. Because even if we cast spells, trigger bombardment, and can't use them, it'll still stack up under there for later. Wow, Skrelv and the Hive. Gonna have to remove Elish here quickly, or else we're not gonna be able to burn down the house this board at all without taking a bunch of damage. Tell you what, let's go Glistening Dawn here. Triggers bombardment, but we can't use the spell. Got some 5/5 tokens available here. So if we can bait him into attacking... No, they sack Elish. So they're going to transform Elish by sacking the rest of their board. That's actually great for us. Okay, Grafted Butcher. That's going to make Phyrexians bigger. Gives them Menace now, but that doesn't matter because they just arrived. Wow. Okay, new plan. Yeah, let's go Safekeeping right now. Pick up another Dawn. Let's do that. And big score. We will get rid of the other big score. Oh, wow. We see Into the Fire as well. Okay, got a little bit of extra mana with these treasures. Let's just take our turn. So, Into the Fire should get rid of everything, right? Yeah, if the Butcher dies, then everybody else shrinks back down. So let's Into the Fire. Play with fire, point it at the face. More Glistening Dawn. Big score away this Proving Ground. And we see Burn Down the House and Thrill. More Incubator tokens. Put that land on the bottom. And great. Into the Fire down. So, yep, no threat from Chapter 2. So that means we can Atraxa's Fall later before Elish Norn flips back over. So let's make a big token. And another big token without Summoning Sickness. Okay, opponent doesn't want anymore. Good game.